You're listening to Tapestry, a podcast by a music lover for music lovers. I'm your host, Kelly. Music is a thread that weaves a course throughout our lives. Join me on a journey to unravel that thread and bring you the stories behind what inspires musicians to create. Side note, Tapestry is an uncensored podcast. Don't say I didn't warn you. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 43 of Tapestry, where today I'm joined by my two guests, Ethan Rose and Myke Wilken, who collectively make up the Nashville-based duo PuffHost. They're sort of a blend between hip-hop, pop, whatever. It's just stuff that makes you feel good, and it's great. But I had a chance to talk to them about lots of things, including how they met over hot cider and found their shared musical voice, how they use their music and rhymes to illuminate the challenges faced by the millennial generation, and opinions on why creatives should make songs about their own personal narratives. You're listening to their latest single, Low Power Mode.
And I think I'm running out of space. I can't even save myself, no, I don't ever back up, only have my plan A. It's like my head is in the cloud right now, and I think I'm running out of space. How do I erase myself? I'm running out of battery. I've been crazy, stuck in low power mode. Can't connect to anything but my phone. Who put you in charge to bring me back up? 100%.
Ethan and Myke, thank you for being on the show. And usually how I start these things out is just to have you guys introduce yourselves, so I can get a feel for who's who, and what each of your voices sound like. So if you could, just introduce yourselves, and why don't you guys tell me a little bit about each one of your musical histories?
My name is Myke, and this is the sound of my voice.
Hey, what up? My name is Ethan. This is the sound of my voice, but I can also sound just like Mikey.
Right? We sound very similar a lot, very often. Sometimes even in recordings, we're like, wait, was that you singing or me?
It's really a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've both been playing music most of our lives. I first picked up guitar at 11 years old. Started learning tabs and stuff. My favorite band is Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I just wanted to learn all their songs. And so it just kind of carried through, and I started learning songs, and then I started writing. And then in high school, I was in a couple bands, and we used to perform around town and stuff. And yeah. And then I moved to LA, lived there for 10 years, pursued music and acting and all that. And then we partnered up a few years ago, and then we moved over to Nashville together. So
Awesome. Yeah. I was wondering why your Skype name, Ethan, said North Hollywood. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
I guess I haven't been on Skype since North Hollywood.
Right, that was where we met.
Nah. Did just want to ask, though, because I saw in an interview that you guys met over hot cider, so I want to get to that point.
In North Hollywood.
But
totally. It was, yeah.
Studio City,
I guess.
Aroma Cafe.
Technical.
It was we met over a Facebook group called Musicians Referral, right? It's like a Los Angeles musician connect Facebook group, and you can collaborate with people on there and share what you're working on and stuff like that. And I was making some music, and I had a couple songs, and I was looking to start a band, and I posted this thing, wanted to start a band, and then Ethan hit me up, and then we met up for hot apple cider. We started collaborating, and then decided it was best to just have a partnership, and then not have to deal with, we were talking about it last night, trying to schedule your bass player to come into the studio to lay down tracks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Ethan, I'm sorry, because I did kind of interrupt you. What instruments do you play, and how did you get your musical start? And then we'll reconvene on PuffHost and how it came to be.
Yeah, totally. So music started for me when I was 5 years old. My parents brought my family to see the Titanic, and basically when I came home, I had this toy keyboard, and I played the flute melody of My Heart Will Go On this little battery-operated keyboard. And I think everyone just kind of froze in their tracks, and my parents were what did you just do? And I was like, oh, I'm just just doing a bit here. And from there, I started piano lessons. It was kind of funny because no teachers would take my parents seriously when they were like, hey, I have this young kid who can play, and I think he's got a good ear. And we found a teacher, and I took piano lessons for a while. So I'm trained in piano. And then at some point, I decided probably around 12 or 13 that piano wasn't a cool instrument, that guitar was like what I needed to be cool. So I picked up the guitar. I taught myself basically just listening to records, trying to mimic what I heard. And then from there, picked up bass, a little bit of drums. My piano teacher was a drum teacher as well, so I kind of alternated. And then, did the jazz band thing, the symphonic band thing, and then college, high school I played in a pop punk band too, and that was pretty fun. We did some light touring, and that was a blast. And college played in a ton of weird bands. And fast forward to Los Angeles, where I did some session gigs, but then decided that I wanted to do something more artistically fulfilling. And when I saw Myke's post on the musicians referral page, I was blown away by his website, to be honest. I was like, holy shit, man.
Squarespace.
Nice.
Yeah, Squarespace. Yeah, this podcast is sponsored by Squarespace.
Spent a while on it.
Type in Tapestry at checkout for 10% off.
Right.
Squarespace
Exactly.
website.
But I mean, his presentation, his photos, the layout of the website was just like, I was just so impressed, and I was like, I gotta talk to this dude. His music's awesome. I feel like we could vibe together.
Yeah.
I don't know what we could make together yet, but I knew that there was something there. So we met over hot apple cider, and I think that was probably the first moment we decided that whatever music we make together, or whatever we do together, it's just about the vibe. It's not about, and I specifically remember you saying on Facebook chat, you were like, dude, I know you can play. Like, we don't need to have this like preliminary hang where we like show each other our chops.
It's just kind of like a hang to just like hang out.
Totally.
And then if you can just hang out and vibe out and you get on the same vibe, then it's just like cool.
Yeah.
Because he sent me like stuff before and we were sending each other songs back and forth and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that gets a lot of the awkwardness out of the way when you're not, you're essentially not going on a friend date with each other or like an audition.
Right.
It's just like, hey, I understand who you are, you understand who I am. Let's just like hash this stuff out and see what we can make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's like, it's more important to be able to have a cup of hot apple cider together and like talk about how dope the chilly weather is
Than it is to pay rent.
than it is to pay rent.
Well, I once I dove into a little bit more about who you guys are as PuffHost, I was really I was looking forward to this interview because I was born in 1990 and of course feel all of the things that you're talking about in your music, and I just hearing you say like, oh, I've been in a pop punk band, I've been in a bunch of weird bands in college, it seems like with you guys, just the way you're interacting, like you clearly work well together. But how did you land on the millennial struggle as kind of your MO with this duo?
This was like, it's all just like the weird freakouts that go on in our minds that we write about, especially in this new album that we're gonna release. It's like it gets really introspective and like really kind of psychedelic and weird at some points. But we've just like kind of fallen into this narrative before all this stuff started to kick in, before all this chaos in the world started to kick in, and now it's just digging us deeper into it, and we're just following the rabbit down the trail, just like see where it takes us.
I think the millennial theme wasn't intentional, and I think as we were starting to write songs, we started to see the common thread from song to song. We would kind of write one and be like, wait, shit, we're like talking about like another like very millennial specific or 20 something specific problem. But I think really what it comes down to is like you write from experience, right? And so like we're we are amidst this era of being struggling 20 somethings. And so I think that's just what we write about,
And it's a new era where like more than ever right now people just have anxiety and depression and like mental health sickness and issues and things, and so just writing about your feelings is just more relatable than ever.
I also feel like we just love writing about being confused. I think that's like that's just where it all comes down to that confusion.
That was definitely going to be one of my questions, was just kind of what's your philosophy about music, and why do you create it? Like, why is this the medium you guys have chosen to deliver this message of millennial confusion as opposed to poetry or art, but it seems like it's just more that it comes really naturally to you guys.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think every time we go to write a new song, I always feel like, man, we're like writing about the same thing again. Like we're still feeling these feelings of like being
I
stuck,
know.
feeling confused, feeling
Like
lost.
how much more do we have to get out?
Maybe we don't have direction. Yeah, you know, it's funny, and I feel like we've found a way to do it in a couple of different moods, and there's different spectrums of it. I think this project has been like a fun way to just tap into different spectrums of our minds and how they work, because there is like the dark moodiness, and then there is like the zany craziness, and
there's the L&D track. I gotta say, it was one of my favorites. That was pretty nuts.
Totally. So you know, it's kind of all over the map, and that's how our minds work. And I think music, it's so easy to translate that thought process in your mind via music, because it's natural to us.
Now, when you guys started PuffHost, though, did you have any idea that it would sort of turn into like this alt-pop, hip-hop project? Because hearing you both come from a guitar and piano background, your music sounds kind of nothing like what I would expect when I hear that. So how did you land on the sort of like Watsky-esque, you know, just like fun rap pop thing?
Well, we had another band before this, and we released like a 7-song EP and a few singles and stuff, and it was more like a kind of dreamy alt pop, and then towards the end of that, when we were transitioning out of PuffHost, we started to get really experimental with that music. Transitioning into PuffHost, which just like happened
no more PuffHost.
Accidentally. It just like was an accident. Just kind of transitioned as we were kind of just getting more experimental with our music and productions anyway.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like formed into this new thing. And we were in a session with our friend Max, who we produced these songs with. And it just kind of formed, and we just kept having these sessions together, and we just like more ideas kept popping in our heads, and we didn't want to put any limits on what we created. So we just wanted to create like the most zany, weird stuff, put it out, and like see how the world would take it.
Totally. I think Max, our producer friend, and at the time was our mixing engineer, and still is. He mixes a lot of our stuff. He had us come in to just write with him. He said, like, I got all this crazy music. I don't know what to do with it. Do you guys want to come in and write together? And I felt like when we had that session, we were all just kind of frustrated. Like, man, we just want to, like, have fun again. Like, say whatever the fuck we want. Like, talk about how crazy the world is right now, because it was really crazy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he had come to us with this idea for what became our first song, Patterns. And that kind of just sparked something in us, I think, and gave us an opportunity where we could be like, you know, we can talk about these issues in a fun way.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a subliminal way, too.
Totally. A subliminal way with, a lot of subtext. And I think that kind of became the foundation for how we approach a lot of these songs, where we can talk about these sort of uncomfortable topics or the things that people don't really like to be so upfront about, and we can confront those things and sort of normalize them, but do it in a fun way that's a lot easier to digest than being so like on the nose, confrontational about these hard topics.
Right. I mean, I have to say, and anyone listening who's been a listener of mine for a while will be like, Kelly, stop, we know. I'm mostly a metalhead. I don't really listen to a ton of pop. Yeah, hip-hop's not really my thing. But then when I was doing the research for this interview, I honestly couldn't stop listening to your stuff, because it is so, like, bouncy and fun, and then you actually listen to what you're talking about. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm really depressed and don't have any money either. That's great. And you're kind of like listening through clenched teeth, but there's a side to it that's very fun and positive in its presentation, and so that's where I wasn't sure where you guys kind of landed on that, but you just explained that to me, so thank you.
Yeah, no.
It's just nuts, like, going from having all these weird bands to then you're hopping around in inflatable avocado costumes, so.
Yeah, I think that's funny. Like, I mean, going back to you being a metalhead, and we kind of talked about this yesterday, you know, we come from a lot of different musical backgrounds, right? It's like we both love 90s music. We both were also metalheads at some point. We
Right.
were listening to like the heaviest
Mhm.
death metal with like obsessed with breakdowns. I played pop punk. Like we love all sorts of different bands, and hip hop I don't think was ever like in the cards for me.
Not me either. I
Yeah.
didn't understand hip hop when I was in high school, and I like used to say it wasn't music,
Right.
but now I
Yeah,
realize
I've
that
been there.
it's like way more complicated and way more intricate than most things on the radio.
Yeah, totally. And
Yes.
I grew up like hip hop was the first thing I got into, but then I became an emo kid, and I was like, I can't be an emo kid and like hip hop. Like that just goes against the rules of being emo. And then like, you know, from there it's like it's an evolution into like how weird can you be and not be into hip hop. And then it comes full circle because it's like you can't just miss those roots, but also hip hop is just a beautiful format to talk about a lot of shit,
Yeah, really.
you know?
Because you can just spill everything out
Yeah. And I had never
Right.
rapped or
in
anything.
so many different ways.
Did you guys have to essentially practice that like another instrument? Because it's not easy to
Yeah, I
get
mean,
in a flow
totally.
and
Everything's
come up with
yeah,
that.
everything's practice. I mean, like our musical influences have just been changing over the years, and like we've just been really influenced by different um hip hop artists the past few years, and they like these influences are really starting to kind of make their way in, and we're just I don't know. Personally, I'm just like my I'm just having breakthroughs constantly about like with my rhythmic flow and stuff, with my lyrics and melodies and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah,
Well, I did want to ask that too, because I haven't seen a ton of your guys' videos, but I do know that you sort of like trade off and stuff. So when you put a final song out, what would you say is kind of the process to it getting there? Is it like one of you two is doing most of the lyric writing and then the other's backing up the tracks and the instrumentals, or is it kind of like a shared,
it's kind of like
role?
like some of the songs have been created like in the studio, all three of us. Um, um, Mostly lyric writing is like mostly the two of us, mostly Ethan. Probably like on the past few songs we released is like probably like 75% Ethan. And then and I'm trying to like find my balance within like this new kind of style. And it's interesting like finding like your musical influence and your musical path within this style, and finding like your voice and your creativity within this new interesting thing. And we're constantly finding like new balances and new ways to, you know, yeah, find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. And I would say like the general experience though is like super collaborative. I mean, there have been a lot of songs that have come together because we're both really good at coming up with half ideas.
Totally. And like lyrics are a part of they're a very big part of music too, but like man, you really need all the other stuff too.
For sure. Yeah.
To make the right thing.
We both play a lot of
Yeah.
instruments. We both do a lot of production,
Mhm.
and we both do a lot of writing. So I think it's just kind of whatever happens to inspire either one of us at any given moment. Sometimes like one of us has an idea and kind of runs with it, and then the other helps to execute the vision. Other times it's a completely like, man, this idea just fell onto our laps together at the same time, and that's exciting. So it's never like a one and done method. I feel like
Yeah.
it just kind of changes per song.
Yeah. And also like sometimes songwriting is seasonal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just like go into
yeah.
like a writing depression and you just like can't write for a long time.
Yeah,
and you're like,
totally.
why can't I do this anymore? Do I even write
Yeah,
music?
writer's
Do I
drought.
like writing? What's going on?
I was just gonna ask you if that's also a potential song subject, because I've had that debate in my head of like, am I a composer or am I
Right.
a performer, or can I be both? Should I be both? Like, I feel like as a millennial also, we're constantly carrying all these questions around in our heads where other people might just be going through life without all those
Mhm.
stupid things in their head, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure for us to find our place as creatives, as career people, as just people.
Yeah.
I think, and I think your music hits on that a lot. But
Isn't that
I
interesting?
wasn't
It's like
sure if
I feel like it's almost like we're trying to prove something to ourselves more than anything else with like an artistic career, putting like years and years of effort in with like hardly any compensation to like hope that one day you just like take off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But if you put the hard work
Yeah.
in it, you know, things will work out.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, now that you guys told me that you've been in LA and then you've come back to Nashville, I mean, what kind of paradigm shift was that like? Because they're both cities that I
Big.
obviously associate with, you know, professional music careers. So I wasn't sure, um, sort of like what the impetus for that move was and how it's helped or hindered you guys.
I think it's helped a lot.
Helped
I
a
mean,
lot.
being in
Yeah.
Nashville has given us the opportunity to live in homes.
It's really cleared our minds of all the clutter. Like being in LA is very stressful, especially right now. I'm sure being there is very stressful.
Yeah, I mean it's just a lot easier to live here, and I think going back to like being human, it's like you got to really take care of that part. You know, if you want to be creative and you want to fulfill your role as a creative person, it's like you got to tend to the human nature in you and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You know, making sure that your home life feels comfortable, making sure that you don't feel like you're constantly drowning. Um, you know, just trying to live, just trying to survive. I felt like LA can feel like that a lot, and then there's like this pressure constantly to be a part of everything and to make something happen all the time. I feel like Nashville's pace has just been a lot more advantageous for us, just because we've been able to like set up, you know, shop in these homes and just enjoy life a little more, which I think lets you be a little more fluid in your creativity.
I think we both haven't lived in houses since we were in high school.
Yeah.
Or you were in college. Yeah. I was in high school. Dang.
Yeah, I mean the picture from an outside perspective to me of LA is just like the definition of the rat race.
Yeah.
You know, I mean I've interviewed a lot of musicians from different parts of California, and they all kind of confirm that. You know, there's people like throwing their mixtape at you while you walk down the street, like please listen to this. It just seems really hectic.
Yeah, it builds up like a lot of character.
It's a boot camp.
Yeah, it's a boot camp, and you like need it sometimes to get to a different place in life.
I agree. I mean, we spent years there, and I felt like it was truly like our training to get to where we are now. We built the connections that we wanted to build. We found, you know, such a core piece of our team there, and some of those folks have also made the move from LA to here in Nashville. So it's kind of like we have roots in both, which is really cool. Except we can take advantage of the lifestyle in Nashville, and I think also we were obsessed with the idea of trying to maybe do a type of music in a city that maybe didn't have a lot of that going on necessarily. I mean, LA
that really
like,
intrigued us.
It's a contest. Like you're never weird enough, right?
Right.
It's like,
I know.
Yeah, what's big in LA, I guess, other than the most mainstream pop type of stuff? That's maybe my incorrect.
Yeah, I mean like Silver Lake and Echo Park have big like underground music scenes and stuff.
There's
but like it's just mostly like there's everything going on. It's like there's a huge music industry there, and it's like, what is it, the biggest in the world or something?
Probably.
I think so. Might be wrong, but you know, there's all these other industries there too, and so it's like you're competing with like all these people in a sense. It's like Nashville, there's a huge music industry, but a lot of people that you just meet around town work in the music industry.
Yeah, it feels a lot easier to connect with people here and get in rooms with people here on a more friendly, collaborative way rather than a competitive way.
Yeah.
And
people are really inclusive.
Yeah, it feels a lot more inclusive, at least in our experience so far.
Yeah, right.
People have been really welcoming here, and it's been amazing for us.
That doesn't surprise me. Just with people I know in Nashville, they're like some of the nicest people ever. I love that city. I really want to visit again. It's just
it's a great place.
But I guess too, I still sort of have the bias that it's where you go when you make country music, not when you make pop and hip hop. But that really seems to have changed a lot in the past, decade.
Totally.
Maybe.
I mean, some of the first people we connected with when we moved out here was this hip hop collective called Unknown Friends.
I know,
and they let us on board to do a few songs during like their Christmas party show that they had. So that was
So
awesome.
cool.
But yeah, there's an underground like hip hop scene. I've met a bunch of hip hop artists here actually.
It's so funny. Yeah, like I feel like everyone I've met, and probably you too, like you too. Not the band.
You met you too?
Bono.
I feel like I haven't even like run into a lot of people that do country music. It's like people
Right.
doing indie rock. It's people doing hip hop, urban R&B stuff.
I wonder if
pop
it's like
stuff.
the areas we hang out.
And maybe it's just like it's because we're narrowing in and trying to tap into that network. I'm not sure,
Right.
but it exists here for sure. And I think like one of the first shows we went to at the
You
basement,
made me yawn.
we were like, wow, this is a lot of weird music happening here, and none of
Right.
it has been country, and
Right.
a lot of it has been
There was like one country artist, and then she
Yeah.
was just like so good.
yeah. But it's interesting. There's
Yeah.
a lot of variety.
The country artists here are really good.
Yeah.
The ones that I've seen, like really
I would
talented
hope so.
musicians. Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Well, before I ask you some stuff about your live shows, I guess I can sort of take what you said, Ethan, about like nurturing your human side first, and I can sort of wrap that into a little discussion about your latest single, Low Power Mode. But being that you told me right before this that you're not just planning for an EP in the spring, you're now planning for a full album. Let's talk about that. So, Low Power Mode was the single, and I would say that some of the themes definitely touch on, you know, the version of yourself that you project to the world versus the real you who might be struggling or might be, you know, in your mind inadequate or something. So, how did you guys come up with this song? And then I also want to ask you about the video.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think thematically and lyrically in that song, it has a lot to do with constantly feeling like you're comparing yourself to people, especially by way of technology. You know, it's the internet has become such a highlight reel, and it's so easy to feel like even when you're putting your best foot forward or you're putting a filter on and showing people your awesome life, it still doesn't feel quite good enough, like it's living up to what you're comparing yourself to. And I
Right.
think that's a toxic
Yeah.
place to be, and you start to lose touch with the essence of just who you are as a person, as opposed to the events and accomplishments in your life or the roles that you're playing in your life. And I think that song has a lot to do with that, and sort of the anxiety and depression that comes with just trying to feel any sort of worth in yourself when it all kind of makes you feel worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he said.
Wasn't you were nodding,
Yeah.
Mike? Okay, I was gonna say. Well, I went through and I wrote down most of the lyrics because I wanted to understand, but I think the one, I guess, stanza that really hits me is where you said, "This is a stream of consciousness without the buffering. No need to syndicate. I'm on demand and loving it. My virtual reality is all I need to feel like life is meaningful as long as I can plug it in." I was just like listening and I went, "Oh shit, that's so good." But I think the video and like listeners, please go look up this video because it's actually like terrifying.
Right.
The end.
You don't
the
think it
end
would
is
be. You're
really
like,
really
"Oh, this is
dark.
kinda cool."
Yeah,
Whoa.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's pretty dark. But you know, I thought the imagery was really cool with like everyone walking around with the paper
Oh, it's
bags
such
on their
beautiful
head.
imagery, isn't it?
It's cool, and so it's, I don't know, it really feels to me like you guys are treating each song like its own little sort of work of art. But I did want to ask how that whole video came to be, and like, was it part of your original vision when you made that song, or did it just kind of fall into your lap?
Well, this video, it was actually a short film before it was our music video. And so in 2016, this director and writer named Ishan Shukla, he wrote and directed this short film, and it won all these awards. I think it won like it's like 9, 10 awards or something, like international film festival awards and things like that. And then Ethan had this idea for an animated music video for Low Power Mode, and we've been wanting to do this for a long time. And we looked for animators, and everybody was so expensive, and it was going to take like months to create a custom like world that we wanted. But then we had this one idea. It was really intricate, and we were gonna like started filming, and we were gonna have a green screen and do this music video and stuff and edit it together. It was gonna be a lot of work. But then we were looking for inspiration, and we just searched on YouTube like dystopian animated short film. First one that popped up. And then we were like, we played our song, we put mute on the video, and we just like watched it. And then we just like sent the guy a Facebook message and asked him if we could get. We actually edited the video first, and then we sent him the video.
Yeah, we saw the
and
video.
told him that we just loved his video so much, and we'd love to use it for our song.
We saw it and we're like, man, like that has to be the music video. The song's working so perfectly with it. The visual is just like nailing the aesthetic of what our vision was for an animated short.
Right.
And yeah, Mikey cut it up to the song.
Yeah.
And sent it to him.
It's interesting how relatable it is to the times, even down to like the bags on people's heads, and we're like being told to like cover our faces. It's so interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's so weird. You said 2016?
Yeah, 2016.
That's so bizarre.
Right? Yeah.
Other crazy things happened that world or that year.
Well,
that was a
that's
wild
what I
year.
mean. I feel like your guys' music is I mean truly like of the time right now, because every single person, whether they're of the millennial generation or not, is just going through so much uncertainty about everything. Sure. And if you're anything like me, sometimes when you're sad or you're confused or you're depressed, you just listen to stuff that's sad and depressing and confusing, because it kind of like, I guess, activates that feeling, and then it allows you to get over it.
Yeah, you get it out. It's like you dig deeper, and then you're like, all right, now it's getting out.
Right, okay, it's past, I can move on. Right. And so that is pretty bizarre that you guys are releasing all this stuff now that's totally about that. I mean, same with your track 20-somethings too. It's just like, I don't have enough money to pay rent, and I don't have a health plan, and I'm doing my best, but I really can't do anything else about this. So yeah. Now, with Low Power Mode and the upcoming album, how far along are you guys with it, and would you say it's kind of thematically similar to your previous stuff?
Very. It's thematically similar to like our most recent release. Mostly, we have some like, we have a lot of our like real fun vibes that we usually have in there, but like we're getting down a real rabbit hole of like what is coming out of our minds right now. Totally. Let's record it.
I think being in lockdown has put us in a really interesting place creatively, where we've tried to just tap into the darkness a little more, and I think Low Power Mode is such a good catalyst for it. And I feel like Low Power Mode is a great example of you don't lose what feels like the fun essence of PuffHost, but what you get is even more depth, maybe a little more focus on the dark themes.
Yeah, I think also we're trying to like get the listener in our minds more.
Totally.
We're tweaking our song so it just sounds like the chaos of our minds a little more, down to the production matching with the lyrics and everything. And it's like, it's just kind of a new sound, a new thing we've discovered that we do.
Totally. Yeah, there's a lot of weird tracks on it.
Yeah.
Great. I like weird. Have you guys had any particular challenges, I guess, writing during lockdown, or really just how are you doing? How are you doing throughout all of this?
Doing great. Honestly, doing really great. This is a really great time in our lives. Yeah. We're really grateful, and we talk about it all the time. We're really fortunate to be able to make music almost every single day. We meet up like 5 days a week and just like make music until like 2 a.m.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome. So nice for everyone to kind of be on the same playing field right now, and not really have like a crazy pressing deadline. I think that motivates us to be more creative, and definitely just the vibe of the world really is in line with our feelings in general.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just hyperbolizes them to the point where it's easy for us to write songs.
Yeah. And a lot of
the end of the world.
Yeah, and a lot of things that are in normal society that cause a lot of fear and anxiety in our minds just like aren't really here right now, because we're not really in society right now. So we're just kind of disconnecting, and like there's the negative voices and the negative narratives are just kind of like shutting up, and we're able to just like let creativity out now, and it's
We're more in our own world.
right. Yeah,
We're like in our own world that we created for ourselves instead of letting these external things clout that. And
Yeah.
I think that that's really cool, and it's allowing us to really express these new things in different ways.
mm-hmm.
I like what you said, Myke, how we're not in society right now. It sure does feel like
Right?
that. Like
Interesting.
I don't know to what extent you guys fill your day, but you know, like I'm still going to work. My life hasn't really changed, but then when I get home, it just feels like I have this endless amount of time to be introspective and
Right.
kind of like reevaluate my personal values and
Yeah.
goals and my relationships and stuff. And I don't know if you're feeling that way,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it sure seems like a lot of my creative friends they're really tapping into that because everything else is kind of on pause.
Totally. Yeah,
And as long as you can do it in a healthy way and cultivate it in a healthy way,
Totally.
I guess that's great.
yeah, very much so. And I've noticed also like people are making their home like their safe haven. Before it was like their home is like their place where they go to sleep and like go home and whatnot. But now like I would just like got a hammock and I start like decked out my porch and I started
Yeah.
growing some plants and stuff. And I'm like just trying to really make my home like just the comfortable place that I can spend all day at. I've noticed a lot of other people are really just trying to like make their space just like for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are using this
Definitely.
time to like create too and like do things they've been wanting to do for a long time. It's cool.
Be more real with yourself.
Yeah.
Introspection is good.
Right?
I think like
so good.
It's so easy to like get distracted,
Mhm.
you know, from focusing on yourself every day. It's like we always spend time trying to not focus on ourselves,
Mhm.
and it's nice to be able to just take a minute.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, I don't know if it's kind of weird. There's like a balance between I miss it and I don't, but I don't know how much you guys have been affected just by, you know, the desire to go out to shows, to go play shows. Obviously, that puts a dent in your income and your ability to perform, but to me, it's also been kind of nice because I've always been a really avid showgoer, and now I sort of am stepping back and going, okay, do I need to be out all the time? Do I need to,
Yeah.
you know, be seen, or what's my aim here? Am I going to do this because I enjoy it, or do I want to go network? And I'm not sure
Right.
what your guys' opinion is on that.
Yeah.
Have you felt
Well, I mean,
better?
we
Like maybe not
in a sense we
playing the game so much?
yeah, in a sense we do because like we've been able to create more and so the stress of like okay, we have to like rehearse and we have to like call our drummer and like have a couple nights of rehearsals because we have to play like 4 shows this month and like that's going to take up a lot of our time and then we have to make music. So it's kind of like that's a big stress that's not really present right now.
Totally. I definitely.
Oh, we love playing shows. By the
I
way.
miss playing live shows.
It's a lot of work.
because I think,
Different kind of work.
I think that our live shows have
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot to do with translating us as people.
Mm.
You know, more than the music, it's like translating who we are and our personality and sort of how we do it. And I think that that helps kind of put PuffHost into perspective for a lot of people. But I think that the whole live stream thing and also just allowing us to further develop our artistry has been so advantageous because even with the live streams, it's like you're kind of playing shows, but it becomes a little more personal. It's kind of cool that you
Definitely.
can sort of see artists in their kitchen or their bedroom or their studio or whatever. It's very candid. It's very real. There's no bells and whistles, and
Right.
even seeing the biggest artists in the world also in their bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
it feels less like a rat race. It feels less
And
like
they
a
also have
competition.
poor streaming quality.
They also have poor streaming
You know,
quality.
everybody has the same kind of stage.
Yeah, you no longer feel like the little dog trying to just like get anyone to pay attention to you.
Right.
You feel like you can just kind of hold your own
Yeah.
and have people tune in as they please. And I think that that's a great opportunity.
Yeah. It does totally level out the playing field. It's interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Oh,
yawning
dude.
here. It's not because you guys are boring. It's 10 o'clock.
I'm
and I'm getting
normally
old.
like I'm normally just yawning all the time. Even when I'm not even tired, I'm just like it's just letting it out. Suddenly my mouth is just like wide open and I'm like,
Totally.
all
I
right.
was like, oh my
here we
god,
go.
I have to edit out the 40 times I've yawned throughout this interview. I'm so sorry. It's been a long day of doing not a whole lot. So let's talk a PuffHost live show. What is a show like for you guys? You're only 2 people, and I noticed you said you have a drummer. So how do you sort of turn your songs into live play out material?
It's always a new experience, and we're always changing the format of like how we perform all of our songs. But we try to find a really good balance between like using our musicianship and like playing real instruments and stuff like that, and just like having the energy and picking the certain songs that need just the energy of us being on microphones, and certain songs that like you just got to connect more with like the instrument and the vibe of the song, you know. But oh geez, shows are weird.
Shows are weird.
They're real weird.
Anything goes at a PuffHost show.
Yeah, literally.
We have fun improvising a lot. We love to play off each other's energy a lot. Sometimes there's like some funny like little improv bits that happen as sort of the stage banter and dialogue.
Yeah, one time we just like did a whole NPR radio talk show back and forth, and I was like the
Nice.
interviewer, and you were being interviewed on NPR, and then we had like songs in between. It was cool.
Yeah, anything goes. We kind of just throw all the rules out the window when we're about to play a show, because you have 2 options. You can either like set up your stuff, play your set, get off, leave, and no one remembers you, or you can go out there for the same, you know, half hour and just go ballistic, and it doesn't fucking matter, and
Because we're all gonna die.
because we're all gonna die.
So it's like whatever.
So the key is, I think,
Spoken like a true millennial.
be memorable, you know, and I think that, like, you know, our personalities and us as people, I think is pretty cool.
It's just fun. We just
you
like
know?
we just totally let loose,
Yeah.
and we just like tell ourselves we're just like turning off any like nerve or fear of just like completely letting loose, and we're just gonna be our weirdest selves. And like the people we
Well,
know
yeah, I
and love
don't-
just like embrace it too. It's really awesome.
Totally.
I definitely don't get the sense that you guys are holding anything back when it comes to your lyrics, your production style, just the topics you choose in general. So, but I think what I find really endearing about your stuff too is like you're able to talk about difficult topics, but I don't know, there's a lot of kind of bravado in hip hop that I just don't really vibe with, to use the word we've been using a lot here. It's just not my thing, and I feel like a lot of it is this put on, like, how tough can I be, how much money can I make, how many bitches can I fuck, that sort of thing. And like,
just not really
it's-
narrative.
it's
really
just-
too.
We're more like,
Yeah.
how much money can we not make, and how many bitches can we not fuck? It's like,
Right.
Feels more relatable.
Well, and I guess that's what's cool. It's like you're not trying to be somebody you're not. And that's important. Like, I know when I go to a show, if I feel like there's just zero connection with myself and the artist performing, I'm not going to dig it. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to want to come back or see them again.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
so I think you're on the right track.
Thanks. You know,
That
we
being
just
said,
got to write about just the real shit. You know, it's like there's like there's stuff that that just like works, and everybody just kind of uses it because it works for certain styles and whatnot. But I don't know.
Well, I was going to ask, do you have like a standout favorite show experience you've had as a duo?
Probably like we had a
Or a horror story, really. It
or
doesn't
a
matter.
horror story.
Yeah.
Last night was pretty funny with Chad's cardigan. We had like this new rig to like run our mics and like our piano and stuff, like direct into
We
our
tested it
iPhone.
out.
We tested it out. It was
So good.
It was so good. Like everything was sounding crystal
Like
clear.
direct from the keyboard. And we had a whole mixer going into like Instagram Live,
Yeah,
and it was awesome. We
Oh,
had each had a
nice.
microphone, like direct instruments.
It was dope.
Sounded great,
We went to like perform our song Recess, and I was on keys,
and we were just jamming out. We just really committed to it. I was
Yeah.
like playing drums.
well,
And then like Chaz told us right at the end, he's like,
at the end he's like, yeah, so you guys were telling me like your mixer or whatever wasn't working before this. Like I don't know if it was just me, but I couldn't hear the keys at all the whole time.
it was just like an acapella drum performance the whole time.
Yeah, no keys, but like it's so funny watching it back. It's like we're so in it, we're committed. Like obviously there were keys coming in our headphones. We were like so fucking in, and you just watch Chaz like watching us like totally into it, because like
Wow.
like in a weird way it still worked, but it's also just so hilarious that there's no piano playing, and I think that's a classic PuffHost moment of like, well, what a
Alright.
strong bit.
You set out to perform your tracks, but you turned out with interpretive dance, is what I'm getting
Yeah,
from this
exactly.
story.
Yeah,
Unintentional
Awesome.
interpretive
but it
dance,
was still
which is like the
equally as
most
compelling.
authentic kind.
It's always a win.
Imagine
Oh
if
my
we knew the
God,
keyboard
I would-
wasn't on. It would have been a very good performance.
If we knew the keyboard was on, then we would have, we would have shown visible signs of being uncomfortable, I feel.
Visible scars.
Visible
of-
scars, yeah.
on our.
Holy crap, that's amazing.
Pretty fun.
Well,
It's on our Instagram if you want to watch it.
I will. I absolutely will. So, okay, do you have a favorite experience? I mean, that could have been your favorite experience, honestly.
That was fun.
It was fun.
But what we did before we moved to Nashville, our indie label that we're with had like a holiday party, and we helped plan the party and like organize it. And we both played instruments on like all of the artists on the label's live performances. So we like played stuff on
that's
like
cool.
each people's performances, because there's some like solo artists on the label and people who have like tracks and stuff like that. And so we replaced the tracks with like drum samples and things like that we played. But that was a really fun show, and like all of our LA friends and a lot of family came, and like it was just an open bar, and there was a grilled cheese truck, and there was ping pong. It was great. It was a fun time.
Yeah, it was a
Good
hang.
people. Yeah. It's just like all the people that I love the most in the world were just in one room.
A good send off.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, good send off. And then we
that's a
just left
feeling.
LA like that weekend.
It's like a wedding.
Yeah.
You might as well
It
end it
was.
on a
It
high,
was like a
though.
wedding.
It's like a wedding without
A wedding and then like moving to Chicago afterwards. Oh wait, that's what you did.
Oh,
isn't
you
it?
guys were in.
No, you had.
You guys were in Chicago
Oh,
at one point too.
no. You were,
I
yeah.
was in Chicago for a year, before LA.
Yeah, they called it Chicago then.
So you just
Chicago.
so you just crept. Oh, okay, that was before
Okay,
LA. I was
right.
gonna say you just kept creeping,
Yeah, I
creeping
did-
eastward
and then-
across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big shift though.
Yeah.
Just everything, weather-wise, culture-wise, everything. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York, so I went like New York, Chicago, LA, now Nashville.
Yeah.
Making my way back.
That's
Wow.
that's the poo-poo platter of the country right there.
Yeah. All three music cities too.
Yeah, we drove all the way through Texas on the way over here, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see anything fun on that?
We stopped
journey?
off in Sedona. Love Sedona. That was fun. We went to like the Petrified Forest. We have a national park annual
cool.
pass, and we stopped off there. So other than that, there was
Nice.
one day where we just drove like 14 or 15 hours, and we just like wanted to get here.
Yeah, I know the feeling. though.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have kind of been like split up. You're in different places. Now you're finally under the same roof. Have you faced any particular challenges, I guess, in promoting PuffHost, or just like kind of establishing yourselves?
I mean, we've had a lot of help from our label the past like year and a half or so, and we're I don't know. There's just been good releases. Some of them have been like bigger than others, but I don't know. It's been good old releases. We haven't really had any troubles with them or anything. It's just like
smooth ride. I think it helps.
we like plan out a lot before we. It's like always checking in with the group before, and like we have like sheets and Google Docs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, on Slack, and like we're just constantly talking about like different topics of what we're working on and all that.
Totally, and I think it's cool because like we know who we are and we know what we want to put out, and we know what we want it to look like always, and how to kind of piece that and package that together and present it to the world. And so I think at that point, or at this point, it's become second nature to just like know what the vibe is for any particular song or release, and we just go with it. And I think because we're so no rules about everything, and we always kind of love going against the grain, it makes everything a little easier because it's like no one can get mad at us if we do something a little alternative.
Right. We kind of want to
sense.
set the groundwork so we can just do whatever we want in our life, and you do that just by doing whatever you want, I guess.
Doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's kind of reassuring to hear though, because I think about how many bands they try something new and then they like lose half their fan base, because
I know. I like their older
old
stuff better. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Classic.
and I mean, you're gonna get that in any like social group or subgenre group that you follow, but I think there's an importance to kind of having a focus by having no focus, maybe.
Mm.
Like that's kind of an important philosophy. But that being said, is there a particular takeaway that you guys are looking for in your audience? Like if you wanted your audience to get one thing right about PuffHost, what would it be?
That the message of our what we say is that just everybody's just on their own path in life, and it's just all cool, and everybody should just accept everybody for who they are, and we're just kind of going about our way and bumping into each other.
Yeah.
And it's whatever.
And just commit to your bit. You know, find whatever it is that like makes you quirky or weird or unique, and just like.
There's a lot to be
at it.
discovered within that. There's a lot of depth in that, in your uniqueness. Yeah. Totally.
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
Well, not to switch it back to a less fun topic, but I have to ask, if there was one thing that you could kind of change about the current like music industry or sort of the you know, sharing ecosystem, what would you guys change?
The streaming quality on Instagram Live.
Yeah, right. that
must have keyboards.
That would be up there.
That would be nice, yeah. If you could run a really nice studio rig flawlessly to your iPhone and nothing crapped out and it just all sounded cool.
Yeah.
That would be sweet for sure. It'd be nice if they paid artists more for like.
I mean, honestly, yeah, that would be nice. But we're in a really good place as to where we're like we have a label supporting us, and they're so understanding of what we create and the space we need to get in to create it, and they just give us just full creative freedom, and they're just like they're supporting us and pushing this album, and they've supported us along this whole journey the past like year and a half, and they're just letting us just do our own thing, and they're gonna
just be us.
Push it. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like, what more could people want? Somebody who believes in you, and they just like fund like your vision. That's so cool.
Do not usually hear that about record labels.
I know,
so
right?
That's good.
Yeah. It's really nice.
I think there's still kind of like the big bad specter of the music industry that everyone's like, do I want to get signed? Do I?
But they still control everything. It's like.
Yeah. It needs to be a partnership. You know, you need to be able to kind of work with your label, make your team, have them really believe in your vision, and facilitate it instead of trying to monopolize it.
It's a really collaborative partnership that we all have together within the label. Like Ethan and I have a lot of roles helping other artists within the label, as far as like ads and like making music videos and photo shoots and things like that. We like we just try to use our skills that we use to like create our own image and push that to kind of help like the whole thing that we all have together. So
do you guys have a title for the upcoming LP?
Man, we were gonna call the EP Low Power Mode, but now that it's an LP, I don't know. It's like
we got some more songs to be discovered.
Yeah.
We got like 5 just about ready, about 5 or 6 like in the works, and then a couple more that are just gonna creep out.
I know it's gonna come to us like
it's probably gonna be just like some lyric and something, or just like probably not, or maybe not, or maybe nothing. Maybe we just don't. I don't know. I don't know.
It's gonna come to us because there's going to be a common denominator narrative within there that we find that is just, we're gonna find the title that's all encompassing for sure.
Yeah.
Unnamed right now.
It'll scream out of your brain. I think that happens to a lot of people though. They have that like, whoa, I wake up in the middle of the night and there it is. That sort of thing.
So look out for our unlisted record.
Yeah.
It's coming out.
Unlisted. Untitled, unlisted.
Hashtag don't know how to promote this, but I will when it's out. Yeah. There you go. There's the update. Hashtag IDK.
Hashtag, yeah, right? Actually,
yeah. Hashtag IDK. That pretty much sums up the millennial
font right on the front.
Yeah, that's
hashtag IDK.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I think this is great.
Not too bad. Yeah.
I will shit my pants if your album is actually called hashtag IDK and it occurred on this podcast.
That'd be sick.
So
that is kind of gnarly. Just like a fat like logo right on the front. Just like.
Because I don't know. It's a fucking title.
Right.
You know, it's like.
Yeah. Right.
I think we always run into this where we're like, this shit's so arbitrary. You know, it's like
nothing represents the art, but everything represents the art.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Hashtag I don't know. Let's call it that. Sure.
And then you get bands like Coheed and Cambria that have album titles that are like 5 lines long. I was like, dude,
Right.
just can you just call it like the album and move on with your life? Album 4 or something.
Right.
Either way. Before I wind this down, what do you guys have as your future goals, and what would be the best advice you could give to people who would like to make a living doing music?
I think that really helps me within my artistry, and that helped me like evolve to discover more of my own voice was just collaborating with people and realizing other people's visions and really embracing ideas that other people bring to the table. Because then you like notice that your ideas get even bigger, and then it really just broadens your knowledge and your vision of music in general. So yeah,
totally. My advice would be to believe in yourself, because it's so hard when you're doing this, when you have other people telling you or giving you feedback along the way of what you should be doing or how you should be doing something. Or how maybe what you're doing is not going to make money, or it's not going to reach the people you want to. But at the end of the day, it's like you have to really believe in yourself and be confident in what you're doing, and you have to think it's dope, because like if you don't, no one else is going to.
Right.
And I would say that like if you're in the room vibing to your song and you're like, man, this is what I'm feeling, and this is exactly like encompassing my thoughts in my mind. Surely there is someone else out there, a whole world of that person out there that's going to vibe with that and feel those same things. And even if it takes a little bit longer to find that audience, who the fuck cares? Because it's got to be so worth it to you. So believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to
just be truthful too, and just like
be authentic.
Your story is probably more interesting than you think.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't like what you write about doesn't even have to be your story necessarily. It's just like what goes on in your mind, and that's way more interesting than most people think.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. The narrative of what's going on in your mind, and so many people relate to that because everybody's got some crazy narrative going on.
Yeah. You know. Try to be someone you're not.
Right.
That is truth, if I have ever heard it.
And shop at Trader Joe's because they're great.
It's the avocado thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the avocado thing. It's the bag of teeny tiny avocados. That's what it's all about. But I am bummed that they don't have samples right now. Their sample stations just like covered in boxes. I know.
Especially dude, hip hop samples are important sometimes.
Right? Yeah. Very important.
That's your alternate album title is Shop at Trader Joe's.
Shop at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like Kelly doesn't like it because it's a full sentence, but it's all right. What she thought
Shop
of
at
it.
Trader Joe's. Nah. Again, if that ends up being your album title, I'm gonna just lose my mind.
Really
but
I kind of like that too. Yeah.
I like it.
It was pretty good. Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
We'll ponder.
Before I let my ego get too big, I'm gonna make you guys cut yours down, and I'm gonna ask you my final question then, which is gonna be,
what is your favorite color?
No, it's gonna be, if you could only listen to 3 albums for the rest of your life, what would they be and why?
But one of them would be one of my all-time favorites. It's Parachutes, Coldplay's first album. I just love it. There's not a single skip on any Coldplay album for me, but I just love their first album. It's just so much raw emotion and raw instrumentals. Oh jeez, top 3.
I gotta like write.
I love Californication, the Chili Peppers album.
That's my favorite
Really?
Chili Peppers album. Thank you.
I
Yes.
have a vinyl of it.
Yes.
It's like a printed vinyl. It's a double vinyl. It was given to me, and I haven't listened to it yet.
Nice.
I want to listen to it so bad. Love that album.
I always throw this out there because I'm not really that big of a Chili Peppers fan, but I am a drummer, and my favorite cymbal in my whole kit is my Chad Smith Holy China. It's
China.
amazing.
Ooh, yeah.
It is. It's a little guy. It's like 12
Oh,
inch,
really?
but it's just, the thing is awesome.
Damn.
It is so great.
Oh yeah.
I don't really associate Chad Smith with that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
but,
I'm trying to like picture what Chili
you
Pepper
know.
songs would have a China in it.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
he's a great drummer though. He has a ton
oh,
of
so
pocket.
good.
He
He
has so
doesn't
many good
overcomplicate
so many
things, but
good
he's just like
lines.
he's right in the pocket. He's just like so
Right.
locked in with the vibe of the song and not
I need
overcomplicating
to
it.
like actually go back and hear
Yeah,
more Chili Peppers
yeah,
stuff just because I kind of skipped that
yeah.
period in like when they were super duper
It's
popular in the late 90s. I just wasn't
right.
listening to them,
I
but
remember
whatever.
back when piracy was a big thing. I went on LimeWire and like got the whole Red Hot Chili Peppers discography, like all their demos, everything, and it was the biggest folder on my
They have
computer.
so many
It was
songs.
insane, and I
They have an
loaded it
insane
all
amount
up
of
on like an
songs.
SD card and put it in my MP3 player, and it was like Chili Peppers was my only thing on my MP3
Dang,
player for a little bit, like 8th grade. It was so
dang.
sweet.
What are your favorite albums?
Oh man, my favorite albums. Yeah, I had to write them down.
Myke, you still have one more.
Ah, shoot.
You have one more.
You know, I'm really some new huh. I have two new like fuck, I have like three new like albums I'm kind of obsessed with.
Yeah,
Circles, Mac Miller,
same.
Nice.
Norman fucking Rockwell, but Lana Del Rey, and then Frank Ocean, Blonde.
Those are all good
So
albums.
good.
I only, stupid me, only started listening to Mac Miller like 2 months ago, which is such a shame because I'm in Pittsburgh. He grew up
So
here.
good, right?
My
So
one
good.
doctor's office is like up the street from the high school he went to, so I'm
Oh,
thinking I
really?
should have been listening to Mac Miller like forever
Right?
ago. But I think he's actually a great example of how an artist can totally change their style album
Oh,
after
yeah.
album and just kind of like throw stuff out there, see what works, adapt, change, improve, and
Yeah.
by the end of his career, he was a completely
Oh,
different
yeah.
artist than how he started.
Totally. And some of his
So
albums,
inspiring.
like his last album, Circles, is like a lot of it's minimal kind of jazz
It's
productions.
not hip hop. Yeah. So
It's so
Yeah.
interesting. It's so
Yep.
cool and inspiring. And you
Super
should watch
personal
his
and
Tiny Desk concert. It's so good.
I
good.
did, and that's actually what kind of set me
Yeah,
off on the
same.
rabbit hole
Yeah.
of like I want to understand more about this guy because he's, native son of the town where I've lived my whole life and he met a tragic end and I just feel like I owe it to him to understand
Right.
him better as a person, and then I just got stuck watching like documentaries on him on YouTube for 3 hours, and then I listened to The Divine Feminine and Swimming, and I just
Swimming
like
is so
went back
good.
through his whole discography. I was like, oh
That's-
wow, this is what happens when you go, I blanket don't like a genre, so I avoid it.
Right.
Then when you actually dive in and you find the things that are really special
Right.
about it, it opens up a whole new door for you. So
Yeah.
I would say the NPR
Ethan.
concert opened up the gate to Mac Miller for me as well.
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't ever really get into any of his tunes, and then I saw that, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then Circles. When I heard Circles, I was like, holy shit! Like this is insane, and this
Yeah.
this is not a hip hop record, but still feels like a hip hop record, kind of in its bravado, I guess, or its confidence. But
Even his rapping parts in the album are mostly melodic.
totally.
You know?
Yep.
So it's like got this like singer-songwriter intimacy. It's got a lot of psychedelic weird shit happening, and then ultimately you still don't lose that thread of like, no, there's some soul, there's some hip hop here, and I love that. That's definitely one of my new obsessions.
I also love that he had Thundercat
Oh my gosh, so good,
helping him
right?
out.
Yeah,
He was like ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-ba-bum,
Yeah.
ba-da-ba-ba-bum,
insane.
Yeah, Thundercat's great too.
Favorite record?
This is what happens when I ask this question: is I ask the question and then we start talking about all the albums,
Right.
which isn't a bad
Hey,
thing.
yeah.
But it gave you time to write it down.
Yeah,
We're
so.
I
definitely
know.
gonna turn on some
It's
Mac
hard.
right after this.
It's hard.
You can love it. You can leave it.
Man. I would say for me, Dark Side of the Moon would be one. Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Just as
Purple
like
Floyd.
like a classic, like I don't know, just like the old record that I want to put on and have, because just from start to finish, it's such an acid trip, and it's just a beautiful piece of music. I don't know. Death Cab for Cutie Plans, because
So good.
Oh, Blast from the
it is
Past.
so
He
vibey.
turned me on to that album. I knew some of the songs from it, but
Yeah,
so good.
I'm a huge Death Cab fan, and I love that record. And again, it's just another start to finish vibe song. I listened to it at a really good time in my life, and just have good memories with it. And then It's between Futures or Clarity by Jimmy World.
Mm.
I guess depending on the mood, I want to feel forever, because Clarity is kind of sad. Futures is kind of sad, but has moments of optimism. So I guess I would say Futures over Clarity, but that's a tough one for me.
Yeah, this last question has been my thing for the past like 40 something episodes, so I don't want to change it now, but I almost feel like it's like, oh god, I'm really smacking you at the end here after you you know
Sorry, that was weird.
making you struggle at the end, but I think no no, I think it brings out a lot of good discussion though, because a lot of people that they might know right off the bat, or they might have to really think about it. But so is there anything else you guys want to mention about PuffHost before we wrap this up, or
go check out
anything else you want to mention?
Go check out Low Power Mode.
Yeah.
The video is insane.
We're super proud of it, and we're super happy to be partnered with the director Ishlan Shukla.
Yeah, go check out.
Cool.
That's going to be turned into a feature film too
at
some point, so that'll be cool. Go watch the short. Look out for our record, because we're really excited about it, and I think it's the most representative of who we are as artists and people. So.
Yeah, we're finishing in the next month, and hopefully like a summer release. We'll see.
Hashtag I don't know.
Hashtag IDK.
Yeah. hoping for your guys' sake that you can release, and people can actually go see it live in the next couple of months. So fingers crossed. But
follow us.
Well,
you can see us live like in the basement in our socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few times a week.
Without keyboards plugged into your mixer on Instagram Live. No, but Ethan and Myke, thank you for sharing your time with me, and just good vibes.
Great
honestly.
vibes. Good hang.
Vibes, so.
Thank you so much for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Hope you guys enjoyed the good vibes just like I did. Again, that was my interview with PuffHost. 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 You can find them everywhere you find music. Make sure you check them out on Instagram at PuffHost, Facebook at PuffHost Life, and they also have a website through their label, which is Allswell Records, allswellrecords.com/artist/PuffHost. Also, I'm saying it on record, I swear if their album comes out and it is called #IDK, what I'm gonna do. So as always, thanks for listening.
Shows a different side of you, hiding who you really are, just to show the world life is beautiful. If you ignore the ugly parts, life isn't a highlight, and you are not a movie star, and you don't have to be, and you don't need another filter, a sticker to pretend that you are happy when you really feel inadequate. In fact, I know you're not alone, because my phone is also running out of battery.
It's like my head is in the cloud right now.